Quantum Leap Season 1, Episode 11. This is so far the best episode of the season. And before we talk about it, I want to brag a little bit because once again, more foreshadowing that just proves our point. So far, Episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 have only furthered our theory of events to come.
So there's a whole video. If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it, and you can actually, I don't know if you want to show it to them really quick, which one it is. But we do believe that the Quantum Leap program is in trouble, and it has something to do with the people that are already running the Quantum Leap program, as seems to be playing out. But Janice did leave us on the cliffhanger. So, by the way, if you guys are worried about spoilers, now's a good time to dip out, watch the episode of Quantum Leap, and then come back and watch our review. We will wait for you.
This is the episode.
Okay, welcome back.
This is the episode we're talking about. Go watch it if you want. Search for Sam. It's on the main channel. I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, and it's a really good theory, and we've never had a theory hold on this long, so this is great. If it actually happens, it's going to be amazing.
Dude, if it actually happens, we're going to have a party here. We're going to have a little live stream party, guys. We're going to go nuts. We're going to get some pizza, okay? No stories. We're just going to hang out for like an hour and just celebrate the fact that we were right on episode 3 of a brand new series.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
With almost no context. All right.
Well said.
Here we go. Let me just explain how this works real quick. The way it works, it's pretty simple. If we like something, we give it an upvote. If we dislike something, we give it a downvote. And at the very end of the episode, we're going to average those two numbers until we come up with an official Popcast score. That is how it works. And here is the episode.
So just breaking it down, it's 1962. Ben finds himself caught in a time loop and trying to stop a nuclear reactor explosion. So we start off with Ben actually playing the general, or whatever it is. I'm assuming it's a general. Yeah. And
they are looking at this new experimental, new to 1970, whatever. 62. Experimental nuclear reactor. And so far, it's right up his wheelhouse. But then, and I want to say, go back here. The can of soda. I love that foreshadowing.
Oh, you love the can of soda foreshadowing?
Yeah, the can of soda foreshadowing. It was good, and I'm gonna give my first upvote. My first upvote is for the can of soda. Oh, and one more upvote for Dr. Woosley.
That's my upvote. Yes.
Yes, Dr. Woosley, played by who? Shane?
Robert Picardo.
Robert Picardo,
right.
And he has the same name as his character from Stargate Atlantis.
I wonder if that was on purpose. Like, if I get a chance to ask anybody any questions, that's what I need to know. Why did they name him Robert Woolsey?
The same name.
It must be, right?
It's not a common name. It's not like my name is John Smith.
Right.
Like, outside of Stargate and now this, I have never heard the name Robert Woosley.
Fair enough. And I'll take my upvote.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you. It's great. I in my head canon, he was actually sucked back in time in Atlantis wormhole mishap, and now he's living his life out, in the United States in 1967.
Okay, I like that. 1962, yeah.
1960. I keep getting it wrong. 1962.
It's like you know what's funny? You just keep throwing 1974, 1967.
Yeah, I just keep putting random numbers.
Just know Kennedy is still alive, so it's prior to 1963.
Gotcha. Okay, so Dr. Robert Woosley, he plays a very renowned, well-respected scientist that is trying to change the world with renewable energy. And just to be clear, renewable energy, a lot of people go, renewable energy is wind and solar and whatever. Well, the ultimate renewable energy in a lot of people's case is nuclear. Was a really aside from all the scares of nuclear power is probably the most efficient, power source. So back then, when they were trying to figure out power, that was on the forefront of the power science. Like everyone was trying to figure out the safest way to make nuclear power.
Well, and nuclear is what creates all other renewable energies. So the sun, which is a nuclear powered, thing of the universe, is what creates wind and sun and all that stuff. So it's actually, they're trying to get to the source of what creates renewable energy.
It makes complete sense, by the way. Just like make your own little mini sun down here, and then make a bunch of steam and power some rotors and turn them for electricity. Call it a day.
Yeah, why not?
Makes sense to me, guys. I'm not sure why everyone hates it so bad. Couple bad meltdowns.
A couple of meltdowns and some nuclear bomb testing. It's
just a couple meltdowns. Look, who doesn't want a third eye or an extra finger? No big deal.
I spent 3 years sitting on a nuclear reactor, so
Oh, that's right. You're right. You were the ship you were on was nuclear, right?
Yeah, the Ronald Reagan.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine sitting. So did the Ronald Reagan literally never need to be refueled?
Never. Well, every 50 years.
That's
they redo
crazy.
Yeah.
Why isn't so many more things need to be nuclear powered?
Yeah. I agree. The problem is it took an entire it took an entire group, like a large group of people to maintain that reactor. So we had, I don't know, probably 120 people down there managing the reactor, making sure it was safe at all times.
That makes sense. But
it's a lot of money.
Dude, 50 years. That's like I mean, the power industry, that's a dream.
Oh yeah.
It's a dream. I don't know. And you know what? So a lot of these ships cost like millions of dollars a month just to refuel.
Yeah. It's even per day, it was still expensive. All the aircraft fuel. Oh, goodness. We spent a lot of money.
All right. So basically, they're about to do a nuclear test of this new experimental nuclear reactor. Thank you, Shane. And the general's there to make sure that it goes well. And the reporter's there to report on the experiment. And the guy here in the white lab coat is the assistant to Robert Woosley, right?
That looks like Ezra Miller to me.
It does look like Ezra Miller. That's my first thought right now.
I did a double take. I'm like, is
Ezra Miller in this show?
Yeah, I was like, what?
And so far, everything's fine. It should go great. In fact, he even starts to nerd out a little bit with the assistant. He's like, yeah, nuclear stuff. He tells a funny joke about atoms splitting. He's like, finally, a leap right up my alley, right? Except for, Dr. Edwin Woosley. It's not Robert. It's Edwin Woosley.
Oh, Edwin. Yeah. I don't know what his first name was in Stargate.
I don't remember either. Edwin dies unexpectedly today of a heart attack. Uh-oh. Something is afoot here. Is it the soda can that kills him? We don't know. There was also a janitor in the elevator with him. That was literally just the janitor. That's all. Just the janitor. All right. He goes to do some calculations and something goes poorly and there's some suspenseful music, and I don't know what's going on, and oh no, why are the red lights blinking? I like that, by the way. Why are the red lights blinking? And she runs in there to tell him that it's about to explode, but it just explodes. And that's the end of the episode. Dr. Ben Song, he dies. He's dead.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
But with the new Leaper, I guess.
Yeah, Ben's dead, and that's it. Or not.
The brain waves came back on. I got to tell you, these actors sold it. They sold him being killed, dude.
Yeah, this
I
actually.
give an upvote.
Oh, you're giving an upvote. I'm giving a downvote. That's unfortunate.
I got to give it an upvote because they sold it. I mean, like they were really upset.
I don't know. She loses it way too quickly. Like,
I mean, she just saw him inflame with a fireball.
I don't know. Like this.
I mean, what should her wait period be when she sees her?
Wait, she's got to ask some questions. Okay, you were disconnected from the system. what's going on. She comes out and just immediately breaks down, and it was sort of cringe. I feel like you are operating inside of a giant facility, ultra futuristic, and your fiance is leaping through time. I mean, look, guys, there might be some options here before you completely write Ben off. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
she comes out and starts
witnessed it.
just
It's
screams
different.
in anguish.
Well, she witnessed it. Now, yeah, let's also be fair. You're definitely not a woman. So, we don't know exactly how you would feel. Oh, imagine your wife's in there and you see her get engulfed in a fireball. Are you just going to be like, well, let's see what happened. Maybe she's okay.
Well, I got to figure out what actually happened first before I break down and go and lose my mind.
Well, you saw.
And by the way, what you just said there was
what happened. She blew up.
Problematic. That's the word. Problematic.
Well, you saw her blow up. So,
yeah, I understand that.
Let's say right now, your wife blows up. Well, how do you react?
Well, in regular real life, it'd be like, how the F did my wife blow up in my office? Okay. That'd be my response.
You react. So you react with your Spock brain first before your emotional brain?
Yes, of course. Is it going to happen again? I have kids in the house. Wait a minute. I can grieve in a minute, but let's figure out how my wife just spontaneously combusted in the middle of my living room.
You're a rare human being because most people are not that way.
Okay, okay.
Right. I would have freaked the F out. If I saw my loved one blow up in front of me, I would have freaked the F out.
I've had a lot of love for the actress that plays Edison throughout these last 10 episodes. I'm just simply saying that I felt like this was oversold. That's it.
Well, I'll say, I think having that emotion is what the show needs, because the connection is a problem. Even having this person here freak out is cool to me. I liked it. I like seeing how much they care about him, how much it affects them. And it sold me momentarily on the fact that something might have actually happened to him. Just for a second. I mean, I know it's a show. He's going to be there forever. But it actually sold me for a second. I'm like, oh crap, what the hell just happened? So I don't know. I'm A+ing this. I think it was a good move.
Okay. Did you do that thing where right when he died, you paused it and looked at it being only 8 minutes into the episode and were like, oh, okay, so he's still alive.
No, I mean, I processed it quickly. Right. So it was like, well, he's obviously here for all the episodes, so they're going to bring him back. But it shook me a little bit. It was a shake.
Right. All right. So what happens is, this is what happened. In the rarest of rarities, he has been sucked into a time loop.
Now, this is why it's my favorite episode.
Right.
Because now it feels more sci-fi. Like Quantum Leap has always been sci-fi-ish, but this Quantum Leap hasn't felt very science. It's hard to explain. It doesn't feel very sci-fi.
Right.
I don't know if there's just not enough of Addison doing the Ziggy thing. I don't know there's not enough Ziggy 100% in this show, but it was nice to see this weird time loop thing. And I'm like, yes. So that's upvote for me noticing this. As soon as this happened, I'm like, upvote.
Same here. And I am a massive fan of the Groundhog Day, Palm Springs, time loop things. So now he's let back into the assistant. And they didn't properly explain why his loops run out after he uses up all the available bodies or whatever. But basically he's able to leap however many times there are people in the elevator. And now he's on number 2.
We didn't know that though. We didn't find that out until later. When he was on almost to the last body.
Right. I know. I'm just mentioning it now because they never, even when they do say that, they don't explain it. They don't explain why that's the case.
They didn't know, I don't think. It's the first time it's ever happened. So,
but if it's a time loop, why is it like a sentient time loop? You have this many tries? How does that make sense?
Maybe you're limited by the number of bodies and you can't go back to the same body a second time.
So that would make more sense if you can't leap into the same body twice, if that was established.
Yeah. But they've never done it, so they don't really know. So they really established it here.
I see.
So, I mean,
so if you knew,
that'd be one thing.
We can assume you can't leap into the same body twice.
Now?
Yeah, based on what we learned today. He
Yeah.
probably can't leap into the same body twice.
That must be it. Yeah. And I don't recall. Well, now that's not true. Well, no, let me think of the best. I don't recall Sam ever leaping into the same person. He did leap into different people, like from the same family, which I thought was interesting. One time was perspective of the brother, and then the next time he was from the perspective of the Down syndrome little brother.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so maybe it's established then. All right.
Yeah.
So either way, then that episode establishes additional lore that would just only make this, a more restrictive but yet more rich universe.
True.
So they go to Janice because Janice, coincidentally, a little bit of a plot device here, but they picked Janice up, and coincidentally, she was also the one that wrote the paper on time loops at whatever college she went to. And so they just happen to have the foremost expert on time loops, in their care.
It's convenient, but it doesn't detract. It's not for the sake of moving the plot forward. It really was for the sake of incorporating Janice into the team.
Right. And that for that reason is not a downvote for me and or an upvote though. It is.
Yeah. 100%.
And at least we got Janice on the team now, interacting with people in a way that's not contentious, because that's what it was before.
Right. And it still is a little contentious, but they're working it out.
Right. Now, Ben tries to warn everyone. It's going to explode, man. He starts freaking out. He's telling everyone what's going to happen. They're not listening to him. He's like, wait, I can do the math. And this was actually really clever what they did here. Look at his right hand.
You want to give that away now?
No, I just want to bring it up right now so I can give it away when it happens. Look at his right hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Pulls his pen out so he can take some notes and to solve the problem as to why the nuclear reactor is going to explode.
Yes.
Very clever.
He also notices that pages are missing.
And then he notices the pages are missing. Correct. Yeah. All right. He's trying to figure out what went wrong. And he's unsuccessful. All right. Now, back at Quantum Leap headquarters. Oh, boy. She's not happy.
Jen's got some problems.
Yeah. Not happy with old Magic. I don't know why you're taking her side. Mm-hmm. She's taking it too personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously, 100%. Now, I think she's utilizing the fact that, or she's basically saying, does it happen here? Yes, it does. So she comes to him, I think, a couple times in this episode complaining about Janice. Mm-hmm. And he ends up taking Janice's side at some point. Right. So that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I guess that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, basically her deal, she doesn't want to work with Janice. And at some point coming up here pretty soon, Janice basically says, like, you guys got to let him finish the leap. Because they were going to try to pull him from the, I don't know how you can pull him from the chamber.
Well, they can't. They can shut down. They don't know what would happen. That was the point.
Yeah.
If they shut it down, they don't know what happens. Maybe
but
he leaps.
They did imply that they shut it down, and that's how Sam got lost. They implied that.
No, did they?
Yeah, they implied.
They said that. I don't think they implied that because they shut it down, Sam got lost. I don't remember that happening. I remember her saying, Sam got lost, but I don't remember him saying because they shut it down.
It was implied that when they shut down the program, shutting down the program is why they can't find Sam.
Okay, well, just to go back, it wasn't shut down when he leapt and didn't return home.
Interesting.
So on that final leap in the final episode, in fact, afterwards, Al goes there, which we don't get to see, but in the end credit scene that never got shot, Al goes after Sam.
Interesting. Yeah, Sam Beckett never returned home, and they spelled his name wrong. You're like, come on, guys.
Well, and the showrunner didn't even get to choose that. It was the studio that put that in there.
Yeah, you're right. Now, studios always ruin things, by the way.
Always. Never make things better.
Looks now, Ben leapt again because it didn't work, and now he's in the body of the reporter.
Yeah, and she's there basically, we find out, to uncover something, nefarious that's happening.
Dubious.
Dubious.
Dubious. Everyone thinks she's there just to cover the general event, but really she's trying to catch Woosley doing something dubious, perhaps. All right, so that actually that throws some doubt, right? Is she the problem, or she's trying to catch someone? So is Woosley the problem? We don't know. He's trying to figure out why the thing is exploding and who is tampering with what and why. Talks to the general, finds out the general has a kid, and the general was getting notes. We actually saw that. We didn't see what the note was, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talks to the assistant. The assistant says, he sells it, man. He's like, yeah, when I was a kid, I saw Woosley and I wanted to be part of what he was working with, and I worked really hard, and I believe in renewable energy, et cetera, et cetera.
Which he does, actually.
He does.
All true.
All true. He talks to the janitor, and the janitor's like, I really like science fiction, which is cool. See, I'd be that guy at this power plant. Not smart enough to work in the power plant, but I'd be really into it while I clean the toilets.
Nice. You'd be like, yeah, I'm digging this.
Yeah, Isaac Asimov. All right. Ultimately, he finds nothing of value. Nothing happens, and we're back at Project Quantum Leap. All right. You want to take it for a minute?
Yeah, I can't remember what happened here. She saw him. She got upset because he
died.
Have they found out yet that he can only do it that he might die?
I think they did. I think they found out that he's running out of times.
Is that why she got upset?
Who knows?
I can't remember what he's saying here to her, but I don't know. That's important. But he's now in to go forward a little bit.
Oh, now he's in Dr. Woosley.
Dr. Woosley. Okay, so now at this point, I'm thinking, he's the one of these people here are setting off the bomb.
Right.
And so he's already been in the bomb. This is the fourth person. There's only one left. So I'm like, okay, we have to find out here, who he is pretty quickly.
Right.
But he's trapped in like the one person that should have the most access to everything, but he really doesn't learn anything.
Right. Yeah, because he doesn't really know what's going on. Yeah, it's really interesting because, like, that character does believe in renewable energy. But he's clearly hiding something, and what he's hiding ends up being the fact that he's got to play ball in order to keep working on his energy project.
Right.
All right. Yeah, and also I failed to notice here, Janice doesn't do much this episode. Like, as the foremost time loop person, she doesn't really do much.
Yeah, I've been a little actually disappointed with Georgina Riley. She's playing Janice, and I kind of like Janice's character, but we're just not getting much of it.
Right.
It's like we need more Janice for sure. And the fact that she gets incorporated at some point in here, she says, well, here you go, you get it. It ends when Ben runs out of bodies in the elevator. So she's figured out what's coming. And then she's the one who tells Magic, he needs to continue the leap.
Right. Continue the leap. Yeah.
And then Magic trusts her, which would have been a hard thing to do because they don't know what her purpose is there. Meantime, they're trying to figure out how this thing's being detonated. And
now he's in the body.
He's in the final body.
He's in the final body of the janitor. He's in Woosley's office. He's looking around. He's trying to find something. He looks in the trash. He finds something in the trash about how the, nuclear facility was going to be turned into like some kind of weapons manufacturing plant. And as the general comes in, excuse me, boy, general's got a problem. He's going to, why are you threatening this facility? So the general's not in on it. General knows nothing. All he knows is that he's there to protect the program, right? Back at Quantum Leap is when he figures it out.
Yeah, so...
And this was an upvote for me. Okay, you want to explain this?
No, go ahead. You explain it.
All right, so Ben figures it out that the guy that's really, the assistant that's really into renewable energy is upset because they're going to be turning that place into a nuclear weapons facility because of the letter. And he also figures out that the pen he's using is the activation device. So when he was in his body, this is cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
When he was going to do the calculations, he pulls the pen out of his pocket and he activates the stupid thing.
Right. That's how come he couldn't figure it out.
So the one time he was in the body of the person that could have stopped it from happening, he inadvertently did it anyways, because who would suspect a pen?
Yeah, no, it was well written. That was very good job.
Right
Keep
there.
us on our toes. We didn't know what was going on, and then they show every scene where it's clicked, and that's just really good storytelling.
Yeah, very good.
Upvote for me.
Yeah, upvote for me too. All right, I'll give it an upvote. But this guy is not really the bad guy. He's a bad guy, but he believes he's the good guy because he wants to save millions of people possibly in the future.
And that's where we get some good foreshadowing.
Right. Right. Also, dude, the general is a crack shot. Dude, this guy just knocks that thing out of his hand easily.
He's not far from him, to be fair.
I mean, you're right, but this still was a good shot, though.
Yeah, he probably would have killed him actually with that shot.
Right, he should have just killed him.
He's like holding it in front of his heart, it's all good.
Yeah. Now, here's the foreshadowing. Shane, explain the foreshadowing here, bro.
Well, basically, the guy says, Ben basically explains that, nothing you can do is going to stop the government from essentially turning this into a bad thing at some point. So you can kill all the people here, but it's not going to change anything. I thought it was really poignant that he said, the general wants to go, has a daughter, and he personalized the whole situation, right? And then it made him suddenly realize, well, when he tells her, well, we're trying to do a good thing too. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a second. Does that mean that the thing that they're doing, they may not be able to stop it from turning and falling into the wrong hands and being a bad thing?
Right.
Which is exactly what our theory is.
Right. Literally exactly what our theory is. Yeah. So this is great foreshadowing, in my opinion. And not just because it proves our theory, but because the only good place for this show to go is that contentious, I don't want to say evil leapers, but like other government organization, because establishing that Ben leaped without telling his crew, the only real answer it could be is that he doesn't trust them, or he doesn't trust someone around them. So that's when you came up with the theory, to be fair, that's literally the only answer it could be. Why else would he not tell his team? Well, because his team is compromised in some way. Because they work for the government.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that is the tough part. And I think that's what we're going to find out. I also think that at some point in this show, they're really setting it up for Ben and Addison to reconnect. There's going to have to be a moment. They've built it up so much emotion that they're going to have to be a point where they can touch each other again. So there's going to have to be a time when Ben either leaps back for a moment or something happens and she can actually be with him. There's going to have to be a conclusion to that feeling that she's having, because it needs to go away. This show is hurting from her constant state of torture, which is an element of the show, but it's becoming an overpowering element in every one of the episodes.
Right.
Where she's having issues with not being able to, be there with him specifically. And I get it. Like, that's definitely something that would be, but in order to get lost in the show, that really needs to be something that just pops up every now and then. The magic between the original Quantum Leap series, between Al and Sam, was that they built a bond together. And I think while you can use this to build a bond to some degrees, it really tears it apart a little bit. Like, they need to focus on how they become better as two human beings, as a couple, through this experience, as opposed to all the reasons why they're not and why it's worse.
Right.
So hopefully they can get there, because I think they need that also to make the show better.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And I better see freaking Sam at some point.
That's what we're holding on to.
I mean, here's the deal. I know everyone's like, "Oh, the show's good. Doesn't have to have Sam." Well, for me, it does. Like, I just, you cannot invoke his name in 5 separate episodes and then just blue ball me to death into a season 5. Ain't gonna happen. Like, I will not. I'm not about that. I've been hurt too many times. So, if you're gonna continually invoke Sam's name and bring up how he was lost, and they're laying the breadcrumbs here. It's not like we're not just like fantastically making this up. This is not like, oh, this is our fan hope. No. Following the breadcrumbs, this is the only place for it to go. So if it doesn't go that way, well, someone screwed up.
You got some splaining to do.
Right. There's a point, like, and it happened with Discovery. Picard season 2. They laid it out. They foreshadowed. They had the breadcrumbs, and they didn't deliver. And guess what? Everyone was fine up until like the 7th episode. Then they're like, oh, so this is bad. Oh, okay. Right. So you got to be careful. You're doing fine right now, but if you don't deliver what you're promising, because you're promising a lot right now, inadvertently, you're promising something. If you can't deliver on those promises, you're gonna make a mistake. And maybe it's not fully like Scott Bakula Sam, but maybe it's some kind of conclusion to Sam in some way. Maybe it's a cheap conclusion, but at the very least, I better get some kind of something.
You need some closure.
I need some closure for Sam Beckett spelled incorrectly, please.
Well said. Make sure you come back next week where we'll be talking about episode 12.
I'm sure we will. Hit that subscribe button on the way to the comment section to let us know that we're nuts.